Meanwhile, President Obama, last night did a town hall on CNN where he was talking about, and this is there's a fascinating piece about this over at Huffington Post by Elena Horowitz-Satlin, the assignment editor there, titled, "There's a really good reason why Obama doesn't call ISIS Islamic terrorists." Now, Donald Trump and the Republican Party in general, and of course Fox so-called news and right-wing hate radio, every opportunity they get, they refer to radical Islamic terrorism. But the president won't use that phrase. Why might that be? Here's a question that he faced last night apropos of that.
Our next question comes from Tina Houchins. She's a Gold Star mother here in the Fort Lee community. Her 19-year-old son, Corporal Aaron Gautier, was killed in Baghdad in 2007.
Hi, Mr. President. As a Gold Star mother, my son gave his life for acts of terrorism. Do you still believe that the acts of terrorism are done with a self-proclaimed Islamic religious motives? And if you do, why do you still refuse to use the term Islamic terrorist?
She meant radical Islamic terrorist. She was nervous, as you can imagine. So here's the first part of President Obama's answer, and this is absolutely brilliant and so spot on, and it's the kind of complex thinking and international understanding that I believe that not only Donald Trump, but by and large the entire Republican Party are incapable of doing. Here's the president.
Well, first of all, I want to thank your son, obviously, for his service. And, you know, I spend a lot of time with Gold Star moms, as does Michelle, and it's always one of the most profound things we do in office is just spending time with families and hearing about not just the sacrifices, but also the incredible life and patriotism and talent that these men and women live their lives with. You know, the truth of the matter is that this is an issue that has been sort of manufactured, because there is no doubt, and I've said repeatedly, that where we see terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda or ISIL, they have perverted and distorted and tried to claim the mantle of Islam for an excuse for basically barbarism and death. These are people who kill children, kill Muslims, take sex slaves. There's no religious rationale that would justify in any way any of the things that they do. But what I have been careful about when I describe these issues is to make sure that we do not lump these murderers into the billion Muslims that exist around the world, including in this country, who are peaceful, who are responsible, who in this country are our fellow troops and police officers and firefighters and teachers and neighbors and friends.
Man, I'm glad this guy's our president. This is his follow-on to that, his finishing the answer.
And what I learned from listening to some of these Muslim families, both in the United States and overseas, is that when you start calling these organizations Islamic terrorists, the way it's heard, the way it's received by our friends and allies around the world is that somehow Islam is terroristic. And that then makes them feel as if they're under attack. In some cases, it makes it harder for us to get their cooperation in fighting terrorism. So, do I think that if somebody uses the phrase Islamic terrorism, that it's a huge deal? No. There is no doubt that these folks think that and claim that they're speaking for Islam. But I don't want to validate what they do. I don't want to, if you had an organization that was going around killing and blowing people up and said, we're on the vanguard of Christianity, well, I'm not, as a Christian, I'm not going to let them claim my religion and say you're killing for Christ. I would say that's ridiculous. That's not what my religion stands for. Call these folks what they are, which is killers and terrorists.
Call them what they are, killers and terrorists. Absolutely brilliant. And what he didn't, go on as well, I guess he did, he pointed it out kind of gently, is that when Republicans and when Donald Trump, a Republican, when Republicans use phrases like radical Islamic terrorism, they are doing exactly what ISIS wants.